My name is Michelle Tops. I'm one half of A&R Metalcraft, who created the Ancestor sculpture, which was launched at Stonehenge for summer solstice in 2010. Probably the hardest part of making him was the fact that not being funded, we actually had to run a business at the same time. So he was kind of made in sort of spare time when we had funds, etc. available. He took around 9 months. Large amounts of sacrifices, but I think ultimately it's been worth it in the end.
What you heard at all. Started moving to that fun music, and life was saved by rock and roll. Despite all the computations, you could just dance to the rock and roll station. It's alright. It's alright.
But you won't let me kiss him.
There's a round table meeting on the 7th. Do you think we should go along?
No.
And yeah.
Boycott it completely.
No, it's where English Heritage sit you around a rectangle table with them at the head and tell you it's a completely fair round table.
I'm just not interested in this perspective. It doesn't really come into my life. No, this is everybody's space. No one has more right over it than anybody else, as far as I can see.
Oh, yeah, Wally Oak got the first festivals together. He was Windsor Festival veteran. He'd been going along with the Windsor Festivals, but he was a bit disenchanted by the way they'd started trying to make money out of everything there, like the chip vans were on a deal and people were trying to charge at the gate and that. So he decided there should be a festival here, which with the help of Crass he set up and had a festival here in 1974.
I just can't see any point in it. I'm not interested in their opinions, they're not interested in mine. No. What's the point of us having a dialogue? They can have their life, I'll have mine. Mine won't affect theirs, and theirs will not affect mine. Whole land, all this land is archaeologically as though it's been trampled by tens, maybe thousands and thousands of dancing feet, was one archaeologist's description of it.
Yeah.
This is an ancient party zone, and it still should be. It's a 14,000-year-old tradition. They put a car park over the oldest ritual centre in Europe, and they think that we fall for their lie that they're looking after the place. They talk about damage when they dug a tunnel under there. They put fences up. The tunnel under the ground, you cannot get more damaging than that to the ancestral lands. They put a car park over a 14,000, 12,000 and 10,000-year-old totem poles, which should be an international landmark. And they put traffic cones on.
Bear with me a sec. Right, okay. 6 cards, one at a time, face down on the table, please.
Take them out there.
Yeah, just take them out. And then this reading will go between 3 and 18 months usually, okay, the information.
Okay.
What I found is that cards are actually, I was drawn to these cards, and they can preserve me some energy. Upset at the beginning of August. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Years ago, something happened, and there's between 11 and 5 years there's been a block, and you've wondered why, because it's like. But this is how it.
I know what you mean.
Okay. Do you
It's like being on a new path.
Okay.
Since about February this year, after my birthday.
But I think I just stand back for a second. What I do feel is your love life's going to stay like this. Your career has options and ability. You've got choices next year, right? Work-wise, okay. This is what's coming in. Yeah, this is how I feel, okay. Your home needs balancing up. Well, that's how it feels. Well, that's how it feels to me. Until you start to kind of just clear the closet and start.
That's what Fern says. She says start thinking about you instead of everybody
Yeah, and clear
else.
as well. So you'll always care about everybody else.
Yeah.
You take care.
Yeah, thank you.
And keep your car. Don't change your car. I just love listening to people's stories. I think we're all storytellers, aren't we? Yeah, what is life beyond the character reference and a role playing? Who are we? I don't know that. It's like we've said before. So when I meet people, I love to listen to their stories and direct experiences. I find that's wonderful. Because how many places can you go to, Jess, and share and meet people what may have had what they'll call paranormal, but I'll call now natural experiences within the other realms, and between the veils. And where do you go and you do talk? Yeah, I can't nip to my local pub or boozer and talk. People just are not receptive to it very often. It's a very rare thing to happen. But you come to a place like Stonehenge and it's not. You're amongst people that are seeking knowledge, and they kind of see it as nearly a duty to become self-knowledge, to have self-awareness, and that's great. This one walking up here is a bugger look now. Just trying to explain a little bit about world as a medium and as a psychic, and kind of to best of my knowledge what I know, and then what I'm not sure about, and definitely what's still a myth and a mystery. Nobody really knows, I don't think, Arthur, do they? The full package.
What's for the clock?
When I give a reading, I get that lost up here. If I don't watch that for 20 minutes or half an hour, I'll be nattering over 3 hours. So, what's Stonehenge? I didn't. Arthur, you asked for that. I need to get information from above, Jess, else I'm stuck right sharp. And that's it.
Well, one of the things I'm doing here at Stonehenge at the moment is campaigning for the return of some ancestral remains that they took away from Stonehenge. But my work at Stonehenge, well, I come here 4 times a year, and one of the officiators of ritual, I'm a senior druid, and we celebrate the turning of the wheel on the longest, the shortest, and the equal days, which of course is what Stonehenge is designed for. Originally, all it is, Stonehenge, is a great solar clock. It's home to me. Home to the heart, not to the head. It's my spiritual home. Well, I'm going to go back.
Mutual.
And I'll see you soon.
Catch you later.
Yeah, if not, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Cheers, Arthur.
Here we are sitting in a van in the aptly named Sanctuary.
Ridgeway.
Yeah, but people know it's the Sanctuary. I don't know where the name comes from. It goes back centuries, but it's apt in as much as we're here because we'd actually rather be at Stonehenge, but we're seeking sanctuary from what's been a quite sort of harrowing couple of weeks where we feel we've been sort of bullied by the police, English heretics, National Trust. We can't even sort of sit in a field over there now, so we've come over here to just kind of relax a bit, and we're heading back to Stonehenge for the solstice. I first came here in 1974, and that was the first festival, I think. And
That was your last one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Joined up with some people called the Wessex Wallies, who were local people who'd, I think, like a lot of people, were going through a kind of psychedelic birth. Yeah, and so here we are, rolled on. That psychedelic baby's grown to into us. We're all grown up now, and yet somehow the vision thing that started it is still going, and it's basically at its heart an experiment really in social living, as well as I see it, and with some successes and some failures, but the core of it is, I think, will go on forever really. It's people who want to find some kind of spiritual nourishment in nature and in ancestors, and we come to these places because we feel an affinity with that here. We're all kind of outsiders as well really, I think, in some way. For some reason we're square pegs in round holes in society, and yet amongst ourselves we're a strong family,
This is the first time that I've come down to Stonehenge, and I just decided that I'd come this year. So I'm a bit disappointed we're getting here that they're quite happy to see tourists go through like on a conveyor belt, and charged excess amounts of money to see Stonehenge, yet I'm not allowed to go in on something that's supposed to be a sacred day.
In 1985, the Beanfield happened, which was a terrible trashing of people when they were travelling here to come to a festival, to take a free festival site. And the police arrested 520 people, but before they did it, they beat women, they beat children, they put down dogs, they beat, they burnt a man's house. There was a great man called Phil Beer, who's sadly not with us anymore, and they burnt his truck. That was a turning point for me, and where I might have gone off and got a job, I became quite solidly involved with Stonehenge then. And carried on coming throughout the late 80s when there was the 5 mile exclusion zone. And sometimes it would mean just coming near and getting arrested. Sometimes it would mean hiding in one of the woods overlooking Stonehenge and just coming out at sunrise. And sometimes it meant taking down the fences and breaking our way into Stonehenge if we had enough people there. Wally was a sun lover and regarded Stonehenge as the ultimate sun temple that we, the British people, had. And so in 1974, with the help of his friend Penny, who later went on to form the band Crass, he started putting out flyers and inviting people. He invited the Queen, he invited the Dalai Lama, he invited the Beatles, all the British Airways stewardesses, because he always had a soft spot for stewardesses. So anyway, in 1974, there was a small festival which happened beside the Stones, on the track that runs up beside the Stones. And about 500 people turned up. One band played, a band called Zorsch. They appeared and played out the side of their van, but it was a fairly low-key event. But 500 people had gathered at Stonehenge for the summer solstice. It was the first time that had happened. The only festival that the government have ever condoned was the 1975 Watchfield gathering. And the reason they condoned it is they didn't want people to go to Windsor. So they agreed a site along with the festival organisers. And it was an old airfield near Swindon. And so Phil went there. He went along to the TP people. And while he was with TP Chris, he was interviewed by a film crew. And during that interview, he sort of spelled out what he'd like to see from the future Stonehenge festivals and also the Free People's Movement as a whole. And it was quite, I mean, they'd tried to break him, and there he was again giving these speeches and sort of saying, we've got to come together, that if we love everything, then how can we possibly lose? And 3 days later, he was found dead. He was cremated, obviously, at the family wishes. And then in 1976, a big ritual was held in the middle of the Stones during summer solstice, and Wally's ashes were spread amongst the stones. I mean, this is the box from which, his ashes were spread. I mean, I love that line on there, victim of ignorance. This is my England, this is where I want to be. This is the only place I want to be on this day of the year. And quite a few other days of the year, strangely enough. Like about 365 probably. Because, I love this place. And Wally loved this place. If they can get here during their lifetime and celebrate a summer solstice with us, they'd be openly welcomed, taken in with us, and everyone should experience at least once, definitely.
Obviously, where we are, we've got Larkhill, Baltic, Tidworth. It's an incredibly large military area, and 3-2 Regiment are moving him for us. Really, in today's society, we're not grateful for anything that we have. And obviously with Stonehenge, with summer solstices, which are incredibly popular and becoming increasingly more so worldwide, it kind of had to be ancient man worshipping the sunrise for us. That very moment of the sunrise when the sun comes up, where ancient man believed that he'd made that happen by appeasing the gods or whatever it was that he believed in, was the emotion that we've actually tried to capture in him.
It seems like a lot of work for a day, but the response we get for him on the night, the first night, it was fabulous, and I hope we get that same sort of response this evening.
party, well,
So, why have you come to Stonehenge tonight?
because I've not been for 7 or 8 years, to be quite honest.
Did you go regularly before that?
I used to, yeah, I used to be here every year. Summer solstice, winter solstice.
Did you live around here?
No,
No.
I'm a Birmingham man.
So did you come for religious reasons or?
I am a bit of a pagan,
A bit of a pagan.
but I don't follow it all. I just turn up because, oh, look at it, what an atmosphere.
Whereabouts in Sheffield then? A little village called Lawton, about 10 miles south of Sheffield. What's brought you here today?
Well, I'm from Leeds, but I live in London.
Right. I know Anne's right, but to me it's a sacred ground. Yeah, and I feel to me it's important to stay down there. And certainly within the Stones and the media, all these lands are sacred around this region, I feel. So have a good time, but keep respect.
Of course.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally. Right, isn't it?
A real mix. Yeah, completely all over the place.
From weird cookies in roads with staffs to people on amphetamine, to people having a couple of pints, to people using it sacred, to other people will not remember a thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're already passed out probably.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
What's the stuff all about then?
It's made from bog oak.
Okay.
So it was sunk in the bogs in the old days.
Okay.
It's between 10 and 15,000 years old.
Okay.
And that's a crystal that I've put in it.
Yeah, I noticed that when I saw it over there.
That's it. And it feels part of me.
Yeah.
And it stores memory. You don't like a computer, you'll use a chip, crystal, to hold memory. So this holds memory in it. Very, very powerful in a nice way. It can cut through ramps and do all kinds of things.
Okay, is it sort of linked to yourself then, is it?
It feels very connected to it.
Right, okay.
For some reason. Not that, just a feeling. It feels part of me. I feel safer with it in certain environments.
What are your thoughts on the security level and the whole sort of parking up and coming in? And
Needed at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I do. I think there's a balance on everything. It's okay being, there's Avebury, that's no security, and that does work. But this has been vandalised before. A balance on it all, I don't believe in too much control. But there has to be structures. There's got to be systems. There's got to be some kind of systems.
Sheer number of people, right?
Sheer number of people, safety and toilets and cleanliness. There's got to be. For me, that's where I'm at. I think it should be respected as a sacred site, personally, and people appreciate that. And look after it. Are you ready to get past?
It's good to see you, man. I need grounding. I feel all over the show, mate. Honestly. Yeah. No, we'll find her over the hill stand.
She'll turn up in a bit, won't she?
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's amazing. I'd like to say, could we do it again? But could we all hold thoughts for peace in wherever there's war, whatever hurting people are that we just all send out love to whoever needs it, to all the pain in the world.
Dump a bag on you in a bit.
Some people say it's not about being sacred, it's not about prayers. Well, it is for a lot of people. It certainly is for me.
It needs people to bring it to life. It could be so much better. I personally think we should move the party to Amesbury.
I think even when my ashes are in Stonehenge, along with Brian's, along with Wally's, along with all the other ashes that have been spread over the years, I hope there's someone still saying, you know, can we do what we want to do? Or even better, that we've done it and that we've achieved all that we want to do. So what more can you hope for? You've got to keep that hope alive, really, you know.